Hey everybody, and welcome to the Top 10, the podcast where sports talk meets power rankings. We break it down, debate it, and then we drop a fresh top 10 list at the end of each episode. Don't forget to click like and subscribe, and we will get into it right away today. Today we are going to do AFC winners. So on our last episode we did the NFC winners, so this time we're going to do the AFC winners. And then our list at the end is going to be the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. So we'll jump right into it. We are going to do the AFC South first. So I'm going to let my dad go first here and see who he thinks is going to win the AFC South.
All right, this week on the podcast, sporting my Rob Gronkowski. You can always tell we're Pats fans. The AFC South. Well, it's the shittiest league, or it's the shittiest conference in the AFC for sure. I think it's a walk away for Houston, an absolute walk away. You had Tennessee, who was 3-14 last year. Will be better. They will be a lot better, but we're talking they're going to win like 7-8 games.
So do you think Tennessee goes from worst to second then in that division?
Jacksonville and Indianapolis and Tennessee are in that division. None of them finished over 500 last year. Jacksonville pulled Travis Hunter for second overall. They've moved up and they picked Travis Hunter. We still don't know what his usage is going to be as for being on defense or offense.
It looks like in training camp they're running him mostly on offense. It looks like I think he's going to be wide receiver 2 with Brian Thomas Jr. there. I think.
If he was to play almost all defense and a bit of offense, it makes more sense because defense has a lot more packages. There's a lot more to learn on the defense for the positions that he'll be playing. On offense, he's only going to be a receiver. He won't have to learn as much. It'd be easier to throw him in. It's going to be pretty hard to just throw him in on defense without knowing what's going on. So it's going to be hard to say. And yes, he's a good receiver, but he's not the best rookie receiver, I don't think. Will Jacksonville be better? Hopefully better, but they're certainly not going to be going after Houston in terms of wins. Houston will be well ahead of them. Houston was 10-7 last year, and they'll be better. Houston will be better. I predict they'll run away with this division. Yeah. They will be the first team to clinch the division in the NFL.
You think so?
That's my prediction. I don't think the other three teams are close. Indianapolis is just...
Well, it looks like now Anthony Richardson might not even be ready for the start of training camp. So it's likely Danny Dimes is going to roll into the season as QB number 1. You want to talk about a waste of a 4th overall fucking pick, though, eh?
Anthony Richardson isn't ready for the NFL, no matter what his injury status is.
The dude's a specimen, man. You look at him, and he looks like an NFL player. You look
and
at
that's
him,
what
like,
he was drafted
shit,
for. And he has a 42% completion rate.
He's got a cannon for an arm. Dude just
got a cannon for an arm. What, he threw that 166 yards in the air while he was falling backwards?
He just can't read a fucking defense. That's a problem.
But you know that. Sure, the highlight film is going to show this and that, but the whole game films are showing that he's not NFL caliber winning quarterback.
I don't think he's an NFL quarterback. I think they should change him to tight end or something. I don't think he's a quarterback.
Use his athleticism. Use him as a fullback.
Use him. The problem is though that he's getting hurt being a quarterback. How the fuck does he take the hits that guys like Gronk and even like Kelsey?
It's funny.
Look at stuff. They take those hits.
To look at the body on the guy, you wouldn't think he's the quarterback that's going to get hurt taking hits.
No, you think he's built for that.
Yeah.
He's bigger. He looks bigger than Josh Allen does.
He probably is. He's probably more muscular than Josh. Josh is husky with a lot of weight. But that's the way it's going to be. And Indianapolis has done a little bit. I mean, they went after Tyler Warren right away. And I think that makes Anthony Richardson better because he's going to have a great big guy open right in front of his eyes. Yeah. So his completion rate should go up. I hate to say it, but Danny Dimes is probably a better NFL quarterback.
I think so.
He's a little smarter in reading the defenses, probably.
I think that you're gonna see second year Adonai Mitchell. There's if you guys ever get a chance, go onto YouTube and type in Adonai Mitchell wide open, and you're going to see the routes this guy runs, and Richardson just can't get him the ball.
Doesn't see him.
But last year, I mean, I think that hopefully with Danny Dimes there, he can move the ball a little bit better. I think that they have the worst, bottom three at least, worst quarterback situation in the NFL. I can't think of...
If you're an Indianapolis fan, are you hoping that Danny Dimes starts?
If I'm an Indianapolis fan, I'm hoping Anthony Richardson starts every game, we lose every game, and we get that number 1 overall pick. And then we can change our fucking quarterback, because I don't think either one of those guys... And I think that Indianapolis is built so good right now. It's just their quarterback play is just... I don't know why in like the 4th or 5th round, I don't know why they weren't the one that took Shedeur. And just hope and pray that maybe he was a guy that you hit late and you hope for it, because I think coming in, I think Shedeur's better than both Danny Dimes and Anthony Richardson right now. And both of them have had health problems. I mean, Shedeur, I'm not a big Shedeur fan, but he took a whooping at Colorado. And that fucking guy got back up every single play, no matter how hard of a hit he took.
He did.
But
did he take hits because he didn't want to get rid of the ball and hurt his stats? Because his completion rate of like close to 75% is absolutely phenomenal. Yeah, that should have him rated as the number 1 overall quarterback. But when you see why he has such a high rate, because he took so many sacks, he took so many losses, he took so many hits.
At least he's taking the hits and getting back up. I mean, Richardson's taking sacks in the NFL. And the guy, look at the guy. The guy doesn't look like he'd gas out. And he came out one play because he was tired. Could you imagine a guy like Tom Brady or Peyton Manning coming out because they're tired? Those guys took... And that was back in the day when you could hit. Those guys got hit by Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. And those fuckers got right, and they were never tired. I just think the Colts, I think they just got the worst quarterback situation in the NFL.
They've got arguably a top 5 running back in Jonathan Taylor.
I think they got 2 good. I think Adonai Mitchell, I'm telling you, I'm a big Adonai Mitchell believer, and I think that he needs to get the hell off of that team, because when you look at those routes I told you guys to look at, the openness, and Michael Pittman, and now they got the tight end there at Penn State.
Tyler Warren.
And
they took him 11th overall?
Yeah, 10th or 11th or something like that. But they got such a good team, and then they just got such shitty quarterback play. And I think that their defense isn't good enough to overcome that bad quarterback play.
It's not.
No.
It's not. Last year they had an point difference of minus 50, so they scored 50 less points than was scored against them. And you can't...
I'm surprised it was that good, actually.
So am I. But you can't win with that. You can't win a division when you're a minus. I don't think there's any minuses in the division. The strange, actually funny thing is that the Houston Texans won that division with exactly as many points against as they had for. And they still managed to eke out a 10-7. But when they were getting beat, they were getting beat. Yeah. And they could squeak out a win in the tough games.
Yeah.
And Houston will be better this year too. Houston will absolutely be better.
I think that they're already looking... Tank Dell, I think they've replaced in this draft. I think he's gone. I think that they've prepared for Nico Collins to be hurt, because I feel like he's just hurt every year. I feel like that's just a thing. So drafting those 2 wide receivers.
Well, they drafted Jaden Higgins.
Yeah.
They drafted him 34th overall in the 2nd round. And then they drafted his teammate, Jalen Noel, 79th overall in the 3rd round.
See, I think those are excellent number 2 and number 3 wide receivers.
It was an odd draft. It was people shaking their head, but it's the Nico situation and the Tank Dell situation. Well, injuries.
And now they don't got Diggs either, and Dell's not probably going to play all year from the way it sounds like. I don't think
they're rookies, but I mean, Houston has some good coaching too, so they're okay there. Houston should just pretty much run away with that division. Jacksonville, and Tennessee is going to be so improved this year. But
so sorry, do you think Tennessee jumps to 2nd in that division?
Do they jump to 2nd? They will top one of those 2 teams. Either Jacksonville gets better or they don't. And then we'll see what happens with the Colts. Because outside of taking Tyler Warren, they really didn't do anything super. Maybe we can see that their GM was a genius with some of their defensive picks.
Yeah, they're going to have to hold.
But even asking Tennessee to jump that high, they were just so bad. It may be more of a 2 or 3 year rebuild in there before they're challenging for the top.
So you're going to go with Houston then?
Houston, Yeah.
So I got Houston too. Basically everything that my dad said there. Although I think Trevor Lawrence is awful. I know he was crowned the prince coming out of college and all. I think he's awful. I think you see them take a step back. I like their head coach. I will say that. He's a young offensive guy. Their defense is awful. I don't think they did much to shore up. I don't think Travis Hunter plays corner in the NFL. I think he plays offense. I think he was brought there to help bring Trevor Lawrence along. I think that with him and Brian Thomas Jr. there, I think they're going to have a good wide receiver core. That might even be a great wide receiver core. But I just don't trust Trevor Lawrence. I think you see the Jags at the bottom of the division, and I know they just paid him all that money, but you got to maybe start looking at replacing Trevor Lawrence. He is fucking awful. But
no, they did. They brought in Liam Cohen. So there's your Tampa Bay offensive coordinator extraordinaire.
What are you going to do if you have a young quarterback that you just paid what, $250 million or something like that?
Yeah.
And then you just have a young coach. What if they suck this year and next year they start tanking? Is it Lawrence in my opinion, it's got to be Lawrence that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
But the problem is that you just committed all that money to him.
Outside of his one playoff win, he's done nothing.
Yeah, and I think that was
more San Diego.
I was going to say, I blame more the Chargers blowing it, and Brandon Staley just, I don't know. But anyways, I think the Titans jumped to second. I think the Colts just have a terrible quarterback situation. I think the Jags have a quarterback situation. In my opinion right now, I'm a big Cam Ward fan. I think he's going to be good in the NFL. But the way I look at it is you got one very good quarterback in that division, two very bad starters in Tennessee and in Jacksonville and Indy, and you have an unproven in Cam Ward. I think right away, if you were to ask me and you had to start a franchise around a quarterback, either Trevor Lawrence, Cam Ward, or Anthony Richardson or Daniel Jones, everyone's going to take Cam Ward.
Cam Ward, hands down.
I think it'd be Cam Ward. I think that Trevor Lawrence has been in the NFL, 5 years now? Guy's never done a thing. I mean, how much leeway do you give a quarterback?
We spoke this before, and both Trevor Lawrence, Clemson wins the national title, but he still has a year to go.
Oh yeah, he had to play that one more season.
He was already crowned the first overall pick. After that, he had a still full year of eligibility that he had to use before he'd be drafted, and he never dropped out of that number one position that was granted to him from the year before.
No,
and Chicago has done the same thing with Caleb.
And we're a big thing with the whole thing with Trevor Lawrence has basically the same stats as Mac Jones.
He does.
And Mac Jones, I don't care what anyone says. I know people are going to say, "Oh, you're a Patriots homer." Mac Jones was put in a far worse situation than Trevor Lawrence ever was. Sure, Trevor Lawrence had that one guy. Who was their ex-coach there? I can picture him. He kicked the kicker. He was an old Ohio State coach. Drawing a blank on his name now. He does the college game day countdown now. Anyways, he had him for the one season, and then they got him out of there. And after that, I mean, he's had Doug Marrone, who dropped, 40 points on Bill Belichick's defense in the Super Bowl with a backup? Like, you had him there and you got him fired. You got Liam Cohen. I just think you're at the point where you got to be able to do... He's got to do something. He's got to do something, and he's got to...
If they have a bad year, it's not going to go on the coach. It's not going to go on Liam Cohen.
But the problem is that when does it go on Trevor Lawrence?
This year.
You think so?
Absolutely. I don't think they'd hesitate to throw Mac Jones in. Because, again, statistically, they're identical. One's on a $240 million contract. One's on a $5 million contract.
Urban Meyer. Sorry, guys. I was just looking that up.
Urban Meyer. Yeah. The guy who kicked the lazy son of a bitch who deserved to have his ass kicked.
But yeah, so Trevor Lawrence has had good coaches, and he just hasn't. I mean, take out Urban Meyer, but even like Doug Marrone, I think.
Urban Meyer is a good coach.
I look at Doug Marrone as a top 5 offensive play caller in the NFL, and Trevor Lawrence still looked awful under him. Yeah. Nick Foles looked like a world. I mean, Nick Foles was a world beater. He dropped 40 on Belichick. So I just
put up 350 yards that game.
Yeah, I think. So for me, I mean, we can move on because for me, this is a pretty easy one. I got Houston as well.
And again, I think Houston will be the team that locks up their division the earliest in the season.
I think
they're that much ahead.
I think you see Houston jump 2 wins, and I think you see the Colts fall 3 or 4 wins. I think you do see the Titans jump about 4 wins, and I think the Jags probably stay about the same. They had 3 or 4 wins last year. I think they stay at that 3 or 4 wins. That 3 or 4 win range.
That's tough. Someone's gone there.
Yeah. So now we will do. I mean, the AFC is just a gauntlet. Let's do the AFC West. Let's do the AFC West next.
That's a tough division.
That is.
I think if you look at last year and you add up all the wins that each team in that division got, 26, 36, you've got 40 wins. That's more than any other division.
That's got it. Well, no. The NFC North might have more. Just because they had 15 and 14.
Yes, they had 30, 40. Yeah, they had 45. Yeah.
Yeah, so still close though. It is one of the best divisions. And I think that I think that every quarterback in that division is good to great. I think Geno's high-end good. I think Justin Herbert is good. He's got to prove it.
Yeah.
I think that Bo Nix came in and lit the world on fire last year.
Baby, yeah.
And then you got Patrick Mahomes. So, I mean, like, what else can you say about him? I'm going to go a different way this year, though. I think that the Chargers, this has got to be their year. Mahomes has looked normal over the last 2 years.
Yeah, they were 15-2 last year, and I don't think they go 15-2 this year.
I don't think so either. And my big thing is that Travis Kelce's career is coming to an end. You have Rashee Rice is coming back. He's probably going to maybe be suspended for a couple of games. Who really knows how that actually goes? I'm not really sure yet.
And you never know how they do after that. More often than not, they falter and they never become what they could have been.
My big thing is that how do you come back after that Super Bowl? They got the shit kicked out of them. That was worse than the Peyton Manning Seahawks Super Bowl. the Eagles just stomped them. I know Mahomes ended up putting up whatever he put up, but that was on the Eagles' backups. That dude, I think he had 3 points on the starters, maybe 7.
That was probably the worst Kansas City team that made it to the Super Bowl. And they were playing... Maybe that Tampa Bay defense that beat them was awesome too. But they were playing a defense equal to what Tampa Bay put up against them, where he was running for his life during that Super Bowl as well.
The problem is, though, is that for me, when you looked at Mahomes in that Super Bowl, when he played Tampa, he still looked like Mahomes. You could see he was running, he was getting outside of the pocket. You could tell he was a bit frustrated because they were chasing him down. And, I mean, those guys all were just... The Tampa Bay, Todd Bowles, you gotta give it to Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles made Patrick Mahomes look like an ordinary quarterback that night. But against Philly, for me, it looked different. His eyes looked like they weren't in it. He was trying to step into the pocket really before he had to. They had 5 offensive linemen. They couldn't. I mean, Vic Fangio didn't blitz all night. They just sent 4 guys.
Didn't have to.
But Mahomes his eyes looked different. It didn't. The Tampa Bay one, Tampa Bay whooped him down, but this one just looked different.
They even had Travis Kelce on the sidelines arguing with his coach. I mean, it
was one of those ones where this one looked different, and I worry that how do you come back from that is the big thing. How does Mahomes react to that? So for me, now don't get me wrong. So I'm going to pick the Chargers. I think that the Chargers win 13 games this year. My big thing is that I ain't counting the Broncos out, though. I think that division, I think you might see...
Broncos.
I think you might see the Chargers at 14. I think you might see KC and Denver both at 12 or 13. And
I can see KC dropping to 12, and in fact, I can't see them winning more than 12 this year.
The problem becomes, though, is that when you say that, do you think KC becomes the 3rd best team in that division this year?
That's entirely possible. Here's a little stat.
You know what? As long as they got, I know as a Pats fan, I know that we had this every year. As long as they got Mahomes and Reed, I can't drop them out. I can't drop them down to 3rd. But I think that the Chargers this year, they look so well built. They finally got that the second wide receiver that they needed. His name's escaped me right now.
Xavier Worthy?
No, the Chargers.
Oh, the Chargers.
They drafted that guy this year.
The Chargers drafted first. They drafted a tight end, Terrence.
No, but
They drafted Terrence Ferguson in the second round.
Yeah, and they drafted that.
They drafted Omarion Hampton, the running back,
which I think is a massive upgrade.
Omarion Hampton. Ashton Jenny's number one, and in fantasy I had a 1.1, and I took him without hesitation. But Omarion Hampton sits in the next level by himself. They say Genty's in a level by himself, then Hampton, who's in a level by himself, and then you got a few guys from Ohio State and Caleb from Iowa and stuff like that. But Omarion Hampton is going to make that team a lot better. Harbaugh loves to run the ball. It's a dream landing for Hampton. It's a dream landing place for him.
Yeah, I think that was a better landing place for him than the Raiders for Genty, solely because they've got that offensive line that is so big and good that I think so again, I'll say real quick, I'm a Genty believer. I thought Genty should have won the Heisman. Genty to me was the best player coming out of this draft, but landing spots matter sometimes. And Hampton landed in a spot where you have, would they have 3 Pro Bowlers? They got 3 or 4 Pro Bowlers on their line. I think you've got a coach that likes to run the ball. You also have a quarterback that's mobile where they got to worry about the RPO. You also have a quarterback that can throw the ball a fucking mile in the air. Like, for me, Hampton landed in the best spot. But I think that the Chargers this year, I think if the Chargers don't win it this year and the Chargers don't go far this year, you got to start wondering about Justin Herbert.
Yeah. He's good, but he's not good enough if he doesn't go somewhere this year.
It's always one of those things where how do you get rid of a guy with all that talent?
You ask for a lot and you see who pays it.
Because he's 6'6", he's 260. He's got a rocket ship attached to that shoulder. He reads defenses, he can move, he's mobile, he can run, he's big, he's strong, he doesn't go down easy. I mean, he hasn't really missed a lot of time with injuries.
Right.
I just don't see how you move off him, but this is going to be Jim Harbaugh's second year, and I mean, in his second year, he took Kaepernick to the Super Bowl. As Justin Herbert, you got to get to the AFC Championship. You at least got to, if you lose in the second round of the playoffs, Herbert's got to at least look good. Herbert's got to hang 40. He's got to have a Brady-esque Super Bowl against Philly where Brady put up 550 yards or 505 yards,
and lost.
He still lost.
You can't blame him.
You can't blame him. But Herbert's got to have one of those playoffs.
And I want to correct myself. In the second round, the Chargers did not take Terrence Ferguson. The LA Rams took Terrence Ferguson. The Chargers took Trey Harris.
Trey Harris, that's what I was trying to think of, the wide receiver. So I think now you got McConkey and Trey Harris there. You have Omarion Hampton. You got a good offensive line. And
Trey Harris was like the 4th, 5th receiver taken off the board. So he's
Trey Harris. That's who it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. He's a great addition. He's a great addition.
So for me, I just look at it and I think that division might be the best division in football, and I think you might see every single team over 500 this year. I love what the Raiders have done.
Yeah.
The Chiefs are still going to be there. I think Denver's...
It's hard to have 4 teams over 500 because they have to play each other.
My big thing is with the the only reason that I didn't pick Denver, does Bo Nix hit that dreaded sophomore slump?
No way,
and it's
baby.
Always the thing.
No way.
It's always the thing with NFL quarterbacks. Do they hit that dreaded sophomore slump? Remember last year going into the regular season, C.J. Stroud, down there in Houston, everyone looked at him like, no way he has it, and he hit that slump. And it's once those defensive... I'll say this, offensive coordinators, you can be a genius offensive coordinator, but defensive coordinators are the smartest people on that football field. And
for sure.
So for me, it's like with that much more tape on Bo Nix, does Bo Nix... I'm not saying that he takes a step way back. I still think that the Broncos can win 9 games, 10 games again this year. But does Bo Nix take a step back just a bit? Not a lot, but does he take a step back just a bit? I know you're going to hear, here comes a homer for Bo Nix, but I got the Chargers. And then again, too, at the very end of the day, I mean, if the Chiefs end up pulling out 15 wins, I don't think anyone's going to be shocked.
It's the Chiefs. I'm just not picking the Chiefs because sooner or later they're not going to win that division.
You know what? They said that about New England for
however
many years it was, 15 years, 16 years.
And I'm gonna tell you, I hate Patrick Mahomes, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm fucking jealous of him. I don't want him breaking Brady's record. And there's only
he's
one
not
guy in the NFL that's even close to doing it, and it's him.
I'm not even worried.
But I think he is worn out.
These last 2 years, he's looked different. Again, I can't remember what document we were watching a YouTube thing, me and you, the one time, and it was Brady, or was it Brady or Mike Vrabel or someone? I think it was Brady and Vrabel and someone else were talking, and Tom and them talked about when you play in that many football games over a short period of time, it's tough. Your body starts to break down because you're and
Patrick Mahomes has played whatever the seasons is. Add a season for his playoff games.
Yeah,
you can add another season onto his.
Yeah, at least, yeah. And for me, it's like, and the problem is like, and I remember listening to Brady say the one time, he goes, the problem is that you're not playing the worst teams, you're playing the best.
That's right.
So you got the best DNs, the best D tackle.
You're getting hit more. You're getting hit harder.
The safeties, everyone on their team is good.
You have less time to throw the ball in every one of those games.
And like Tom and Patrick are similar in this way, where they play in shitty cold weather. Taking those hits, it's not fucking nice. Like, your body's stiff, it's cold. I mean, and the one thing I love about KC, and hopefully if Chiefs Kingdom ever hears me, never build a fucking dome. Keep outdoor football.
I love my outdoor football.
And but at the end of the day, does it wear on those quarterbacks when, take out Brady, the longevity of quarterbacks is so tough in the NFL, especially when Mahomes is playing in 3 or 4 games extra every single year. And again, it's the best of the best. So for me, I just wonder, is this a year maybe where all of those bodies kind of just break down a bit?
Let me throw a little bit of luck at you here and stuff, because I'm going to throw some heavy stats here. The Vegas Raiders were the only team in that division that had a minus in points for and points against. It was a minus 125. That's going to change this year a lot. It's going to go much better in their direction. I wouldn't be surprised if they turn into the positive.
When you say that, that's crazy to me because they just had such bad quarterback play. I thought it'd be like 300.
Terrible.
They had no running backs.
Well,
they had Jacoby and Brock Bowers.
They only had 309 points for. They had 430 against. So they're going to have to improve their defense. But you got Pete Carroll. Yes. That's going to happen. Yes. And it might take a year or two, but it's going to happen. But they'll still not be up there. They're going to improve a lot, but not that much that fast against this division.
So real quick, hang on. What do you think about the Raiders going out and trying to get J.J. Watt and pairing him with Max Crosby?
Oh wow!
I think they got $60 million in cap space right now.
Well, isn't Detroit the favorite to land them? Isn't that like a heavy favorite? In all honesty, we talked about this in our last podcast, and I thought that'd be a done deal by now. Because when if you're a heavy favorite to be somewhere, it should only take a few days to figure out either is. In my opinion, in my experience, if it's been 4, 5, 6 days and they're still saying they're a heavy favorite,
it doesn't happen.
It's not happening.
I think that could be a sneaky landing spot for J.J. Watt. Excuse me. Especially if, maybe not to start the year, but if the season starts to go off the rails and Vegas is even maybe 2 games above it, but the Steelers have won maybe 2 games, I think you might start to see Vegas has the cap, and holy shit, if you had Max Crosby...
The only problem is if they have to pay for him in a trade, are they going to be willing to give up the draft picks that they're going to want?
Realistically, you got to look at it with Pittsburgh is... Okay, then Pittsburgh, you can keep paying them. Because Vegas has the cap space. They got really no one coming up that they have to pay. Bowers is what? He's going to be... He's got the 5th year.
Oh, he's got another 3 years.
Yeah, he's got at least 2 before you even start talking about that. So, they could eat most of... Sorry, I'm saying JJ. TJ Watt.
TJ Watt, yeah.
Sorry, guys. TJ Watt. Vegas could eat TJ's salary, no problem.
No problem.
I just thought that might be an interesting play for that division because then it's like...
Because one defensive end like Crosby is awesome.
Oh, yeah, he's great.
But you just don't run at him.
Yeah.
Just keep running the other way.
Yeah, but with TJ...
There you go, both sides. That's a whole different ballgame.
Yeah.
That ball is going to be back in Geno Smith's hands a lot sooner, a lot of times.
Well, and two is like with Genty there, imagine how fresh you can keep Max Crosby and
TJ
Watt.
Oh, yes.
Genty is going to be able to hold those guys.
He's going to move those. He's going to be moving those flagpoles.
And here's the thing, too, is that I don't even think it matters who their backup running back is because when they put them in, the ones for the other team are going to be so fucking tired from Genty running the ball down their throat that number 2, he could have 800 yards.
Be a good place to be a number 2, wouldn't it?
Not a bad place, that's for sure. So sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Okay, so our teams who win this league. Last year, 3 of those teams were a plus. 3 of the 4. The Kansas City Chiefs were 15-2 with a plus 59 difference. The Chargers were 11-6 with a plus 101, and Denver was 10-7 with a plus 114. So Denver was literally twice as good, plus minus, but with a 10-7 record. So when I see stats like that, I can see that 10-7 going up, and I can see that 15-2 coming down.
Yeah, Casey.
And the Chargers are in there too. Now me, I'm a Peyton fan. I am a Bo fan. I like what Denver's doing. I like everything that Denver's doing. They brought in R.J. Harvey. He's one of these guys that his stock kind of shot up at the end of the year. His stock kind of shot up after the Combine and the Senior Bowl and that too. They like him. They brought in Pat Bryant. Now there's another one. If you guys were following the draft, who's that? But Peyton liked him, and they listened to him. So when Sean Payton says, I like that guy, he reminds me of whoever it was he's reminding him of, they say, okay, we'll get him for you. So Denver's done some work in to improve, and Cortland Sutton and Marvin Mims both got a lot better at the end of that year.
Yeah.
Marvin Mims is probably on the bubble as it stands, but if they're keeping him, it's because of what they saw at the end of the year.
Yeah, I think he'll be their wide receiver 3. I think Pat Bryant slots in at 2 to start the year.
To start.
And then Cortland Sutton's number 1. But I wouldn't be surprised if Pat Bryant also takes over number 1. Because when Sean Payton loves someone, I know that Sean Payton was also the guy that said he loved Bo Nix, and everyone said, "Oh, you only love Bo Nix because you can't get the top 3 quarterbacks because no one, the Pats, the Skins, and Chicago weren't going to give up those picks because, that was probably the easiest slam dunk top 3 picks we've seen in a very long time. Like, it was just, you knew those guys were going, and every top team needed a quarterback, so it just worked out perfect. But I do like Denver. That division, I would not be surprised if that's the new kind of like NFC East, where that division is just going to be just a gauntlet to go.
Just on the other side of the country and the other conference, but it's going to be the same. Because Vegas is going to be better.
They are.
They're going to be better.
I'm telling you, Pete Carroll's got... I was watching some OTA stuff with them, and fucking guy's 70, and he's still out there. He's
72, I think.
He's jumping on top of some of his D linemen and shit like that, and he's going to have that team motivated. They're
going to listen to him.
And
there's some coaches that come in that
I think that new
people say, "Oh, well, how did he get this?" He doesn't know. But when Pete Carroll comes in, they're going to listen.
And I think too, having Brady there, is going to really change things. Brady's going to go to these guys in the locker room. He's going to be saying, "I know what it takes to win." And if you're a football player that wants to win,
you're going to listen.
There's 2 quarterbacks you want to listen to: Tom Brady, who's retired, and you want to listen to Patrick Mahomes, who's still playing. Because those guys know how to win. And those guys have turned some trashish wide receivers into golden nuggets at wide receiver. How many wide receivers did Tom Brady get paid? How many guys is Patrick Mahomes going to get paid in his career, right? So you think you're going to go Denver to win that division?
Denver, yeah. I'm just all Denver.
Okay.
It's Bo Nix. It's the improvement in Martin Mims and Cortland Sutton, and then you're throwing Pat Bryant into the mix. It's Sean Payton.
That's,
he just seems to have everything in control. He come in there and just threw Russell Wilson's ass out to the fucking curb.
He went in and he cleaned house. You know what?
And he didn't care. Russell Wilson, quarterback winner, MVP, he's everything. I don't like you. Get out.
I will say this, is that maybe is the best coaching, and I don't know who their GM is. Is it still Elway? No, I don't think
No, it's not Elway. No, Elway's before.
But so that's the best head coaching and GM job done in the last 15 to 20 years. They ate shit. They ate
salary too.
Oh, they got
$50 million or something.
Got railed for. I think it was like 30 for Russell, 30 or 40 million they took for getting rid of Wilson, and everyone, how are you going to put a competitive team out there? And then lo and behold, so Sean Payton for me, If he had won Coach of the Year last year, I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have been upset. I thought, for me personally, I thought he was the runaway.
The biggest turnaround.
I get it because what's his name over there in Minnesota had Sam Darnold looking like
yes,
MVP
true.
from seeing Ghost.
And he was 15-2.
No, 14-3 because they lost the last one.
Detroit they did with the last. That's right.
So I'm gonna go with the Chargers. Dad, you're gonna go with the Broncos.
I'm gonna go with the Broncos. Yeah,
okay.
A tough division, but I think the Broncos are gonna be that one.
Okay, so as Pats fans, guys, we're gonna save the AFC East for last. We are going to go to the AFC North, which has traditionally been one of the toughest divisions in football.
Three of the best teams. You know, that fourth team in there, right on the lake. We won't say their name, Cleveland. As they're a shit show. They're just.
So for me, I don't know how this is going to go.
I think when you look at that division, you just throw the one team out right away. You throw Cleveland out. Cleveland's out.
The problem for me is that Cleveland. I could also see Cleveland playing spoiler late in the year, not winning the division, but playing spoiler,
winning a game
that they should win.
An interdivisional game.
Yeah, and I can see it
against Pittsburgh because they do it.
Or
against the Ravens because they've done it.
They for some reason they can get Lamar's number. That division is just so tough.
You throw Cleveland out. I mean, they scored 258 points last year. What's that? Probably the lowest in the league, if not the second lowest.
I think Cleveland gets a bit better that way. The problem for me is that who's your quarterback? Because don't tell me it's Joe Flacco. I don't want to hear that it's a 40-year-old Joe Flacco.
He's the best quarterback there.
The problem is that what
you drafted. It's foolish that they drafted two running backs, either one of which could be their starter.
Well, the thing for me is that,
and then they drafted two quarterbacks.
The thing for me is that
either one of which could be a starter. They should have picked one.
Just pick one because they should have
go with it.
They should have brought Nick Chubb back on a cheap deal. They should have taken. I mean, I don't even know. I mean, you can take your pick. Who do you guys think? Whoever is the better running back there? To me, I think they're about the same. I don't think you can go wrong with either one.
Well, I think Quinshawn Judkins is probably going to show to be the best.
So do
but I. But he only had a half workload at Ohio State,
and
he still put 1,000 yards up.
But so I thought, okay, so say you take Jenkins, and then you should have brought Nick Chubb back, even if Chubb was your number 2.
Well, they took Dylan Sampson, which in some of the mock drafts, he was going in the second round to Cleveland as their number 1.
So that's what I mean, though. Say you take Sampson or Jenkins, just take one of them. Sign Nick Chubb. I mean, Chubb signed for $2.5 million down in Houston. For me, it's like, and then if you didn't, I get why they picked Shedeur because he was still there.
Shedeur Sanders at 144th overall in the 5th round, where they picked him, is a bargain.
Yeah, but the thing,
I mean, he's either zero or he's hero. He's nothing in between that.
But the thing for me is that why did you take Dylan Gabriel then?
You took Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd.
And you traded.
You took running back, quarterback, running back, quarterback in those rounds.
And then you traded for Kenny Pickett. You gave up a 5th, so you spent 2 5ths on
and you got Joe Flacco.
So for me, so if I'm Cleveland, what I would do, I would get rid of Joe Flacco. You're paying him, I think to cut him, it's only $2.5 million. I think you got to have a competition between Pickett, Shedeur, and Dylan Gabriel. You have 2 first-round picks next year. I think they're both going to be very high because I think Jacksonville's going to absolutely suck. I think Cleveland's going to suck. Yeah. I think they could be 2 top 5 picks. And next year, I know that I don't like to project because you just never know how it's going to be. The quarterback class looks a lot better. A lot better. So for me, I think you cut Flacco, you let Pickett, you let Dylan Gabriel, and you let Shedeur battle it out. But I think it don't matter who's quarterback there. I think they're bottom of the division.
Oh, they're bottom of the division. Oh, God.
For me...
I mean, they did shore up their defense a bit. I'll say that.
Yeah, the D-tackle out of Michigan was a nice pick. But for me...
And they paid Miles.
Yes, yeah, they re-signed him.
They paid him, so they're showing a commitment to try and get better. But I just don't understand the general manager. Running back, quarterback.
And trading for another... Call Kenny Pickett a 5th-round pick because that's what you gave up for him.
Yeah.
Even if you want to call
Kenny Pickett overpaid.
Even if you want to call Kenny Pickett a 1st-round pick, that means you went quarterback, running back, quarterback. And it's just, I don't... Yeah. For me, for this division this year, it better be Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow got everything he wanted in the offseason. He went on First Take and during the Super Bowl week, and he said, we got to get my guys signed. We got to get Jamar. We got to get T. We got to get those guys signed.
And they paid him.
And Joe Burrow has missed the playoffs 2 years in a row. And I remember comparisons of they were calling him Joe Cool. Oh, Joe Cool, Joe Cool. He's Tom Brady-like. Tom Brady didn't miss the playoffs, especially not 2 years in a row. And Tom Brady would have never missed it 3 years in a row. So for me, Joe Burrow, and I know your defense is going to suck, but that's on you. You wanted your guys paid. They paid them. You better carry that team. You better put up 50 points a game.
They got their best defensive player maybe still not signed.
Well, and that first overall pick, Shamar Stewart, he's holding out because of some weird wording in his contract where they want to get out of it if he gets hurt.
Let me tell you, Stewart's right about this.
Oh, Stewart is 100% right.
He's absolutely right. It's a standard clause, and they're trying to screw him out of it.
They're trying to fuck
so
him
he should hold out.
Oh, yeah. If I was Stewart, no, I'm 100% side with Shamar Stewart.
I see a day in the future where the NFL tells the Cincinnati ownership that they got to sell and get out because they can't keep up.
He reminds me.
They can't keep up.
And he reminds
financially, they're not in that good of shape.
No, and for me, I don't know why. He just reminds me of. I know maybe it's a bad comparison, but he reminds me of James Dolan for the New York Knicks. It's like he just. For me, I'll say this: this offseason, he did everything that he needed to do. The Bengals ownership did everything that Joe Burrow asked for, and now I can't blame.
Except sign their defensive guys.
But the problem is Joey B wanted those offensive players.
Yeah.
And I didn't see Jamar Chase take a pay cut. I didn't see T. Higgins take a pay cut. I didn't see Joe B take a pay cut.
Here's the thing. The Cincinnati Bengals put up, I believe, the fifth. It was either the fifth or sixth most points in the league. They put up 472 points, I believe.
Yeah.
That's what they put up. 472. They allowed they're still a plus 38. Now, that's a pretty close thing, and their record reflects it. It's 9-8.
But here's the thing for me, too. The Bengals, I don't know what the hell their coaches do in the offseason. Losing to the Patriots last year in week 1 was fucking pathetic.
Pathetic. We're Pats fans. Keep in mind, greatest team ever, but they suck shit.
Last year they were terrible, especially with Jacoby starting. I mean, if Drake May had come in and lit the world on fire the way that he kind of did towards the end of the year where people really knew that Drake May was there, fine. But Jacoby Brissett should not have beat the Bengals. And I think we only put up 7
The Pats were probably the worst team in football last year, in all honesty.
Yes.
And then,
we had the worst coaching. We had the worst wide receiver room. We had a lot of really...
No free agents wanted to come. No big name signed.
If you take out Drake May, the Patriots had the worst everything last year, I feel.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say this. I think we have the number one corner. We'll talk about that in a bit with Gonzalez.
But he was injured.
He did get hurt. So for me, though, in this division, it's got to be Joey B. Joey B's got to win it. And I think that if he doesn't, I don't know what you do. Because Trey Hendrickson's going to be 31. I think before the year starts, I think Trey Hendrickson turns 31. You're showing your young draft guys that you're trying to fuck them on a rookie deal. Like, I don't think that's a good look.
You're not attracting players.
No, and you've paid 3 guys. I think it's like 40% of your
42
salary.
or something like that percent.
And if you pay Trey Hendrickson, that's going to be 4 guys taking up over 50%.
50, yeah.
For me, it's not a recipe to win. The Bengals last year should have realized how bad they were. They should have traded T. Higgins. They should have got whatever they could have for T. Higgins.
Do you think that maybe they just paid T number 1 kind of money because they're going to trade him to a team that wants number 1 and would have paid him that?
I don't know how you do that now, though, because what are you going to get for him? I think you would have got more money for him at the deadline last year for a wide receiver.
More capital, be it draft picks or whatever.
Picks for him at the end of last year, because now you got to hope that the team you're trading him to, A, needs a wide receiver, and B, likes the way that you've worded that contract. So for me, I don't think you can I think T's going to be untradeable. I think he's going to end up playing out his 4 years that he signed there.
What if he sucks?
You're
stuck.
You're stuck. Joe Burrow better go out. He better live up to that name, Joe Cool. And I don't care if you got to put up 60 a game. You better put up 60 a game because you asked for it. They've done it. And as much as I used to blame ownership, and I thought ownership always kind of fucked Carson Palmer around when back in the day.
Yeah.
I thought they kind of fucked Ocho Cinco back in the day a bit too.
They did.
And I don't feel like they treated their team right.
I can see the time where the NFL maybe wants to. They're going to get what I would imagine they'd still get $5 billion anyways for this for the Bengals.
They're getting at least $3.5 billion.
Well, I bet you get
at least
$5
at the minimum
right now because anything's worth $5.
But for me, it's just one of those things where it's like Joe Burrow better nut up or shut up. It's time for him. For me, I would not be surprised though if the Ravens win that division again. I think the Ravens. So here's the thing. I think the Ravens are the best team, but I'm gonna pick the Bengals solely because
They better.
They just better. The Bengals better because if they don't, I don't know where you go from here because you've pissed off Trey Hendrickson. He at this point, unless you overpay him, I don't know how much he really wants to sign. You've pissed off Shamar Stewart, so who says he's going to want to sign a second deal with you? You're showing all your future first-round draft picks, hey, you better read these carefully because we might fuck you for pennies on the dollar when...
That's a good thing he's got an agent that scrolled over letter for letter.
And shout out to whoever caught that for Shamar Stewart. But for me, it's one of those things where the Bengals are... And Joe Burrow's getting old, and Joe Burrow's had a lot of injuries. He's going to be 29, I think, before the year starts. It's
funny when we're talking about
I know
kids that young being old, but for an oft-injured quarterback, that's old. And
you just got to... Everyone in the AFC that you look at as a juggernaut. Okay, so I think of... You think of the Bills. You think of KC. You think of the Ravens. All their quarterbacks have won MVPs. But Joe Burrow hasn't. And Joe Burrow's one of the highest paid. And I know that Joe Burrow beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs, which is all good. But can you really live off of one playoff win and then you're going to miss the playoffs 2 years in a row? And if they miss it this year...
Wasn't it perfect that made them not get to the Super Bowl that year too?
Who?
That pushed Mahomes when he was already out of bounds with 15 seconds left or something and moved him in the field goal range.
But for me, so if the Ravens win, guys, I won't be surprised. But for me, I gotta go. I gotta go Joe Burrow, and it's one of those situations where he better.
I'm gonna make a comparison that some people are gonna hate, but it's true. Burrow's had his men there last year. He won them paid, got them paid. But this is what he did when they were. This is what Cincinnati did, not Joe. Cincinnati did when Joe had those guys already.
Well, T did miss a bunch of time last year. Don't forget though.
Cleveland Browns allowed 435 points against them, and they went 3-14. 435. The Bengals allowed 434. Ooh. They were only 1 point over 17 games better than the Cleveland Browns. They still went 9-8. So Joe and T and Jamar did their work.
Well, this is the thing, and that's the thing is.
But now, and that was with Trey.
And how much better?
That was with Trey that they did this.
And Trey had 17.5 sacks. I don't think anyone else had over 5 on that team.
If they don't have Trey,
Joe
can kiss a 500 season goodbye.
If they don't have Trey, and if Shamar Stewart holds out, and it takes him 6, 7, 8 weeks to get up to speed because he's missing a bunch of valuable time right now as a rookie. I mean,
valuable time.
This is the thing is that Joe wanted his guy signed, and I will say this, I feel like wide receiver is the easiest position to hit on in the NFL. There's so many good ones. Yes. It's one of those situations where you find guys like Jacoby Myers have 1,000 yards and they're only making $11 million.
I call him Iosevich because that's how his name looks, but Yoshi, as they say. I held on to him last year in fantasy because I thought T would be gone this year and he was in. And I watched him last year. He did drop one ball. I saw him drop one ball.
Yeah.
But he was open a lot. He made great catches. They could have moved him in. And I don't care if they scored 20 points or 30 points less next year. If they put that money into defense and they got like 100 points less scored against them, they would be far, far better off.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't. As much as I think that Joe Burrow is probably the best quarterback in that division, I think that I can't pick them because with that defense,
so
they're within 1 point of the Cleveland Browns.
So it's interesting you said that. You think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in that division. Now, this year with T and Jamar there, there better be no doubt in your mind he's the best. Because Lamar Jackson has done way more with way less on his offense.
Yeah.
He doesn't. Zay Flowers, I don't even think is T. Higgins like, but he's got no one close to Jamar Chase.
No.
He's got no one close to him. So for me, it's one of those things where.
But here's a big difference. Here's a big difference to me. Baltimore Ravens have a plus 157, and that's not even the best in the league. I think that Philly had 160.
But I'm not talking
plus a 157.
But I'm not even talking defense.
He's getting the ball back in his hands a lot more than Joe is.
But Joe's getting it back because they're just fucking scoring touchdowns. Joe's getting the ball back. It's because his defense is just fucking garbage, and they're just here's a point. But for me, there better be no doubt at the end of the year. After he got his guys paid and Joe's been paid and all that, Joe better be the best quarterback in that division.
Well, here's the thing: how they finished last year.
Joe better be the best quarterback in the AFC.
Yeah, that's what they need. At least top 2 and top 3 in the league. They were sitting. If you remember, they were sitting at 4-8.
They were, yes.
And they won the last 5 games. Mm-hmm. So there's something there to believe in. There's something there to believe in coming in. That's the only good thing. That 9-8 is shit. That Cleveland Brown defense that they've got for those kinds of points is shit. But having that 5-game streak coming out, that's something positive to build on.
Yeah.
Because if you can, 4-8, say they went 6-6 there. Now they got a winning record to get in the playoffs.
Yeah. And then for me, I mean, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers. I think this is Mike Tomlin's first losing year. I won't even really touch on them. I don't think they don't have a running back.
Well, they do. They drafted Caleb Johnson, who I'm telling you, I think is I had him as RB3 last year coming out of college. I had him behind Genty and Hampton.
They have a bad line.
I think Caleb Johnson is going to light it up as a running back in Pittsburgh.
Here's the problem that I worry about Pittsburgh.
What do they got?
I think they just stack 8 in the box. I don't think DK's that good. He's okay. He's a good wide receiver, but he's not an elite.
His best days are behind him.
And for me, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, sure you can have a great running back, but if they stack 8 and 9 in the box, I don't think he's a Saquon. I don't think he's a Christian McCaffrey where he's going to be able to be the guy where there's 8 in the box. It don't matter. McCaffrey will still beat him. There's 8 in the box. Saquon will still beat him. I don't think he's that kind. So for me, and if I'm being honest with you guys,
he's not known. We'll see.
This may be a hot take, but I think Pittsburgh ends up as the worst team in that division this year.
Oh, there's some.
I think Cleveland goes over them, and then for me, it's going to go.
Would you like to bet your car on that?
No,
I don't think Pittsburgh will get that bad. Honestly, I don't think Pittsburgh will be any worse.
I do.
Than what they were. I think that Justin Fields did a good job when he was 4-2. He should have been 5-1. They blew that one game.
But here's the thing: is that Justin Fields and Russell Wilson were both mobile because they had to run for their life behind that line.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers ain't going to be able to run for his life because he doesn't have that mobility anymore. He used to, but for me, I think it better be the Bengals. That's all I'm going to say. It better be the Bengals.
Well, I can't see it not being the Ravens. Lamar Jackson, well, I don't want to say he's never won nothing, but he's never won the Super Bowl, and some people tell you that you haven't won nothing if you haven't won a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
He's won MVPs. He's won playoff games. He's got a phenomenal regular season record.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, obviously they paid him. They paid him for a reason. But he still hasn't got him to the promised land. And again, here's another guy. This is his time. He's got to do it.
Yeah.
I think Baltimore takes it still. I don't find Pittsburgh in the conversation, even though they were second last year. I think that terrible beginning and middle that the Bengals had will not happen as bad this year.
Well, the Bengals better not start.
And the Bengals will end up ahead of the Steelers, and I think
they better.
But I still say Baltimore is just too strong with a plus 157 in scoring, and that's not going to change. That's not going to change.
So you're going to go with the Ravens?
I'm going to go with the Ravens on that one.
I'm going to go with the Bengals just out of the fucking sheer thing that they better. So, all right, guys, we are going to spend a little bit of extra time here. So this is our division. We're going to go AFC East. So last year, the Bills won it at 13-4, and as you guys know, our Patriots were fucking lonely in the basement. However, some good things came out of it. Got rid of Gerard Mayo and brought in Mike Vrabel, a more established guy.
Oh, yeah.
We got Drake May, and Drake May looks the part so far.
Drake May and Bo Nix. When I'm bragging on Bo Nix, and I watch the tape on these quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels might be a better quarterback, but he's so fucking mobile. He can just... He's like a jackrabbit back there, and he's smart and getting away, and he doesn't hold on the ball too long.
So here's the thing for me, though.
But I don't see him throwing right into the hands 40 yards downfield on fly without breaking a shot like Bo Nix and Drake May were doing.
For me, I feel like Drake May, of all rookie quarterbacks, had the absolute least to work with last year.
By far.
He, at least Jaden Daniels had Terry McLaurin. They had Zach Ertz. Brian Robinson is a good running back. I don't think he's a great running back. I think he's maybe top 17. He's a good running back. Jaden Daniels had a bunch. Drake May, though, this year, let me tell you something.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a year.
There's two guys, and I'm gonna give you guys a name. And if you want to fucking dig deep in your dynasty, go pick this guy up. I'm not sure how to pronounce his last name. Chisholm. He is looking the part. And let me tell you something.
He's an undrafted free agent.
He is. And there's another guy's name. So I got Chisholm. Kyle Williams is going to be a guy you want to watch for.
Now, Kyle Williams, I was following college football really, really close this year. I was following the draft, and I was watching mock drafts all year long. And I'll start watching them for next year tomorrow.
Yeah.
Kyle Williams' name wasn't popping up. And then all of a sudden, the Senior Bowl, the Combine, and people are looking at him.
He's turning
and
heads.
they draft him and watch the tape. If you can see, like, and then I'm not even talking college tape. I'm talking the tape at the OTAs.
Yeah.
Watch him and Drake May.
Yeah.
It's going to be explosive. He is pretty much wide receiver one right now.
Yeah.
And they keep in mind they got Stephon Diggs, who I'm not thrilled about having, and I don't know last the year.
I think he does. So I love Diggs. I think that Diggs is going to be great for the team. Only because of Mike Vrabel. Mike Vrabel handled A.J. Brown when he needed to the most. So, here's the thing. So, in this division, I think it's going to be a two-man race. I think it's going to be the Bills and the Pats. The Jets, I like Justin Fields, and I know that a lot of people can say what they want, but Justin Fields should have been 5-1 last year at Pittsburgh. He should have been.
Should have been.
And
we don't really know. I mean,
I think he's
something about Tomlin watching during practices and that. I'm thinking that Russell Wilson and then Russell Wilson came in. He lit it up for a bit too. He was 4 in a row before he dropped a few games there too.
But for me, it's one of those things where I think the Jets maybe get a bit better. I think you see the team take a massive step back as Miami. So I think.
Do you think McDaniels lasts the season?
Yes. I don't think that Tyreek or Jalen Ramsey are there to start the year.
Let me tell you.
I think if you look at Mike McDaniels,
they're not gone yet. Are they going to say, "Hey, we need you guys"?
I think that they realize that. I mean, if you look at Miami, for me, I can think of 5 teams at the minimum, 6 teams off the top of my head that are better than Miami. Now, if you're Miami and you're in the AFC. 2 is 1 hit away from having to wear a helmet outside the stadium.
Yeah.
So for me, do you
think if Tua gets a major concussion that the NFL will let him? I guess.
As long as
I'll speak this for a second. Football's a violent game, but we love it. We love it.
Oh yeah. I don't want the violence taken out of
me. I played football in high school in the 70s, and there wasn't a kid that didn't want to play. Everybody wants to play football, and you get a football game going in the backyard. Everyone wants to play. We love it. We absolutely love it. But there's a danger to it. I mean, there's a danger in playing hockey as well. And yet we up here in Canada, we all play hockey. Anywhere we can get ice, we'd put water on the road and watch it freeze and go play hockey. It's a rough, tough game, football. And concussions, we know, are a part of the sport. The league is doing a lot. The NFL does a lot.
They do.
For concussions. They go as far as putting spotters in. If they think they see something they don't like, it's not up to you. You're out. You have to pass a certain protocol to get back in. So they're doing everything they can. But these injuries are still going to happen. And they have with Tua. And we know from some personal experience, we've worked with doctors with concussions first too. We know that the more concussions you get, the worse they are. The worse it does to you.
And the more you're susceptible. That hit last year. I think it was the safety there for the Buffalo Bills. I can picture him. He was the guy.
Diggs?
No, the safety from Buffalo.
Decent.
He was the guy that died on the field there.
Oh, yeah, Hamilton.
No.
Demar.
I can't think of his last
Demar
name.
Jackson?
No.
Demar.
Anyways,
Yeah.
Damar Hamlin. Damar Hamlin. When Tua hit him, that wasn't a hard hit. And he went out and he had the hands that did like the curling. And for me, I think that, like, just as a guy that has suffered a traumatic brain injury in his life, Tua, man, I loved you at Alabama. You came in and you fucking saved our ass in the
national championship,
game when Hurts couldn't get anything
Hurts
going.
Sucked, yeah.
You're going to be forever a legend in Tuscaloosa. I mean, they should honor you. I think they should retire your jersey number for what you did for Alabama while you were there. You carried Alabama in those starts, and I mean, you were must-watch football every single week. Every single Saturday, too, it was must-watch football at Alabama because you just knew he was going to light up. But coming from a guy that has suffered multiple concussions, I wish that Tua would just hang it up. And I don't want to see him get concussed this year. I think it's just inevitable when that next one does happen, though. I think that...
Yeah. Coming from the father of a son who suffered it, and knowing that when they do autopsies on these guys, the amount of CET they're finding in their brain...
Oh, CTE, yeah.
...is just... It's mind-blowing. And the only way they can find it is in an autopsy.
Yeah. So
for the time being. Now, I'm sure they're going to work on something.
Oh, yeah. But for me...
But the NFL's, I think they really are. I'll give props to the league for absolutely trying to do their best to limit this. But at some point, will the league ever say, no, you've suffered too many, you can't come back?
I mean, they got I don't know, they got the protocols in place. They got this, they got that. I don't know if the NFL will ever want to overreach and tell a guy you can't play. I don't know if
as long as he passes a protocol, which they've got.
I don't even know if that they would be allowed. I don't know if they would have to go to court and try to say, look, we're trying to save this guy's brain. I don't know, but for me, I see the Dolphins finishing at the bottom of the division, and I hope and I pray for Tua that he doesn't get another one of those concussions, but I wouldn't bet on it. I think that Tyreek's gone. I think Waddle's really fallen off a cliff. I don't think Miami's got much at all. I mean...
I don't think the coach... I don't think McDaniels last year.
I think that he does only because you've seen what he can do. He turned Tua into... I thought Tua should have been an all-pro that one year.
Well, you do remember the previous coach was pretty much washing his hands of him.
Yeah, and Brian Flores there. And McDaniels came in, and I think he said, I would keep McDaniels. I would get... This is one of the rare cases. I'd get rid of all the players. And I'd keep McDaniels. And I'd start anew with McDaniels. I would trade Waddle. I would trade Tyreek. I would trade Jalen Ramsey. I would trade Akeem, the running back there. I would trade everyone that you have of value and hope. And I would hope that Tua retires. And again, you guys heard my plea for Tua. I hope that Tua retires. And I hope that he can live a half normal life. I think the Jets come in at second last. And then you got the Bills and the Pats.
You got the Bills and the Pats.
And
the Jets briefly, again, I love Justin Fields. I wish him all the success in the world. They too, they have an undrafted free agent receiver there that could come up, and they've got the basis in the backfield. They've got a WR1. They've drafted well, and they built the defense. The question is, Justin Fields good enough? Now, they've paid him $20 million. Now, that's not top dollar, but that's a huge jump from what he was making in Pittsburgh.
I think that
they put some faith into him.
I think with Aaron Glenn there, you see the defense get better. Last year the Jets...
I still think they should have fired Robert Saleh, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think the Jets had to, and I think Saleh deserves another head coaching job, and I think he's going to get it because I think he
likes where he is.
Oh, he's going to go back to San Fran, and I think he's going to turn that San Fran.
He's going to show everybody why he got a head coaching job.
And I think that he'll be back as a head coach in 2 years. Not that he won't. Yeah. I don't think he'll get it this offseason, but the following offseason, I think you see him interviewing for head coaching jobs.
I agree.
But the Jets, I don't know. I think their defense gets better. Aaron Glenn, I think, brings a certain culture with them. I mean, Detroit's defense was great until they had 30 starters with injuries down. I mean, I don't think you can blame Aaron Glenn for that. Sure, his defense looked atrocious at the end of the year, but I mean, short of Bill Belichick, I think everyone's defense would have looked atrocious at the end of the year. So for me, I think the Jets take a little bit of a step up from where they were. Because what did they have, 4 wins last year?
5 and 12.
5. I could see the Jets winning 7 or 8 games this year.
Well, they were only a minus 66, so that's close to 500 range just right there.
Yeah, I think Garrett Wilson is a true wide receiver.
Yeah, he is.
And then
and him and Justin Fields seem to be hitting it off pretty good, which is important.
And well, they were teammates at Ohio State, right? So here's my plea or my shout out to the Jets: don't do a running back committee. Those fucking running back committees never work.
No.
You have Breece Hall. Breece Hall has shown you he could be a running back 1.
He could be a 1,300 yard man.
Easily. Just start Breece Hall. Stop. These coaches come in and they want to do these finessey things. Oh, well, we can run 2 wide receiver 1s or we can run 2 running back 1. Just, Breece Hall's the best guy there. Put Breece Hall under center with Justin Fields, or behind Justin Fields in the backfield, and you are going to see some magic. Because between Fields and Breece Hall, good fucking luck defending that to defenders. That's going to be a real...
That's right. That's right.
And I hate that the Patriots have
and
to
what does that do
twice.
for Garrett? That helps him huge.
Oh, yeah. Because you're going to have to put 8 in the box, and Garrett Wilson's
you have to
gonna
respect the run
Yes.
on two different levels.
Yeah. And for me, it's... I think the Jets take a big step up. I like Justin Fields. I hope that he gets a long-term contract with the Jets because I've shared with him since he was with the Bears. I thought he got one of the fucking rawest deals ever coming in the NFL. They had terrible coaches. They had no wide receivers. His line was fucking just garbage.
The thing about Justin Fields, though, too, is if a lot of people watching are fantasy players and dynasty players. And for you that don't know what dynasty is, it's just fantasy, but where you keep the same team year after year after year, and you draft 5 new players each year. And it's a lot of fun. If you're not involved, get on. The Sleeper app's a great one. The NFL runs their own fantasy ones. They're great things. They're a lot of fun.
If you guys are looking for a league, you can go on to Reddit and look in the subreddits, hashtag find a league. And there's all sorts of dynasty leagues in there that you guys can
join in the middle of.
Yeah. So there's those guys always looking for guys to fill in. Guys have dropped out, whatnot, or you can find 10 or 12 new guys and start out. So we're big dynasty guys, so we always.
So Justin Fields, I actually had him, and I dropped him at one point because he wasn't playing, and then all of a sudden he gets to play. Jeez, he's like QB 1 or 2 in fantasy, but he was 2 and 9 in the league.
Yeah. But I think that's a testament to the Bears. The Bears were just fucking awful.
Well, I think if you got a quarterback, and fantasy points, dynasty points are projected strictly on your offense. How many yards you got rushing? How many yards you got throwing? How many completions you made? How many touchdowns you got?
Yeah,
throwing and or running. So if you got a quarterback who's getting more fantasy points than 90% of the quarterbacks in the league, and he's 2 and 9. It's probably not your quarterback.
Yeah, he definitely... There were some times where he looked... Here's the thing for me. Everyone says, well, Justin Fields looked kind of normal there. And it's like, he did, but he probably should have looked bad there because they were so fucking bad. So for
Sometimes looking normal means you did good.
Yeah. So for me, I think the Jets jump to second last. I think the Dolphins finish last. We don't need to rehash that.
I'll agree with that bottom 2 picks. I think the same thing happens.
Now for the top 2.
Now the top 2.
As you guys may know, and I know that I get a lot of hate from Pats Nation, I love Josh Allen. He is one of my favorite players.
And you have him in fantasy, don't you?
I do.
And he scores you 1,000 fucking points a year, doesn't he?
But even outside of that, I love watching him. He seems like a great guy on and off the field. I mean, he's got the respect of all of his peers. I think that even Tom, you know, when you listen to Brady talk about Josh Allen, there's just a real big respect there for me. But I'm picking the Patriots. The Patriots coming. Mike Vrabel's coming in. He's got us clicking. They've signed the defense. They've drafted some defenders. They've drafted some what I think would be true wide receiver 1.
Oh, absolutely. He already is.
I think you're going to see...
And an RB one that's going to take over for Ramondre already.
Yeah, Ramondre was awful last year. I think you're going to see 3 Pats wide receivers really competing. I think you got Chisholm, I think you got Kyle Williams, and you got Diggs. Now, I think you're going to see guys like maybe Kendrick Bourne's on the bubble and he gets cut.
He's done. I think we're... Chisholm, the undrafted free agent we're talking about, he's getting rave reviews. But Pop Douglas, if my stats recall right, didn't have a drop last year.
Yeah, but you know what?
He didn't have a single drop.
I don't think Pop is that. I think they always thought Pop was going to fill in the Edelman role. I think he's too small.
Yeah.
But
the team was so bad last year in general.
When you look at the Chisholm and Williams and Diggs, I think that those are 3 top wide receivers, and I have the rest of the guys, Pop and Kendrick and those guys. I got them down there tier, and
I think Pop sticks around, but all the rest of them can be gone.
And shout out to Kendrick Bourne, because when we went to see the last Pats game, he was running around giving all the kids high fives in the stands. So shout out to Bourne for being what was a Patriot guy for so long. But I think with the draft this year, I think you see him gone. I think that unless he sticks around as a wide receiver 4, maybe just in case there's an injury, or just in case Chisholm's not what he projects in the regular season when he gets against...
Well, the Pats will carry 5 receivers. They will.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be Diggs, Williams, Chisholm. I think you're going to have Pop and maybe Bourne's wide receiver 5. Maybe
4, depending on Chisholm. When you see them, there's one thing in the OTAs and practice field, and there's another thing in the game.
Yeah,
in the real games.
And so for me, I think the Pats got everything. Here's the thing: is I feel like the Bills are reloading this year. So if they're vulnerable, I think it's this year. I think the Pats got what it takes. They've got the defenders. I think Christian Gonzalez is the number 1 corner in the NFL.
He could be. If he comes back healthy and he's completely recovered,
and then
he could be.
And then we signed the guy from
on the other side for the corner.
Yeah, his name's escaped me. I can see him. He played for the Bucks, for the Lions. I don't know why his name escaped me. But we signed him as a corner, Carlton Davis. We signed Carlton Davis, so...
Carlton is a little older.
He's definitely injury prone right now.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have to be...
He brings a wealth of experience.
He doesn't have to be cornerback 1.
What he can do to help the other guys is just going to be phenomenal.
And I think with him having to be cornerback...
He's a Super Bowl champ with Tampa Bay, actually.
He is, yeah. And him having to be cornerback 2, not cornerback 1, because Gonzalez is going to be is cornerback 1, not even close, right?
Well, you need 2 corner ones, really, because you got 2 corners to cover, so...
But I think that Gonzalez will travel with the best wide receiver every single week, so that might help Davis's longevity. The one thing that scares me is that fucking number 4 overall pick. Campbell better be a left tackle and not a left guard.
I'm convinced he is. I know you're not. I am absolutely convinced. Maybe because I want to be, maybe because I have to be.
And I hope.
But I'm not short arms. It's not like he's got stumpy arms like this that he's going to try and block with. I mean, his arms are 2 inches short. I don't think that matters shit. Some of the metrics that they use that, Edelman never would have been, Brady never would have been in the league. Edelman never would have been. He would have been a fifth-string quarterback that he was drafted as being.
I think with the quarterbacks, you can hide some of those deficiencies. When you're a left tackle and you're out there on an island and you're facing the best pass rushers, for me, he just... I'll say this. If Campbell gets moved to left guard, the Bills will win the division. Campbell better be a left tackle, and he better be damn good because... you can ask my dad. I was a Banks guy. Through and through in the draft. I think Banks is the best left tackle. I don't think it's close. If you look at Banks' college stats, he had better stats than Joe Alt. And Joe Alt was the consensus guy when the Chargers picked him. Oh, he's the best lineman in the draft. Banks down in Texas was the best lineman. And if Campbell sucks and gets moved to guard, and you see a guy like Banks flourishing, it will piss me off.
That remains to be seen.
2, I don't
think it'll be that bad. If Banks is a little better at this or that, maybe whatever.
But
Campbell's better at this or that.
Campbell better be a tackle. That's all I'm saying. And if Campbell's not a tackle, the Pats are in trouble. That's all I'll say.
They just go get one.
The problem is that there's left tackles don't grow on trees, guys.
No.
And so for me, I'm going to take the Pats, but a lot of it hinges on Will Campbell playing left tackle and playing it at a decent thing because they've already talked about moving him to guard. And I'm thinking, holy fuck, guys, you pick a 4th overall pick on a tackle, he better be a fucking tackle.
Early in the year, I think he's fine. But here's where we disagree. Being the Pats fan, Gronk today, I don't think they're quite there yet. So there's 2 teams in the league to really, really watch this year. And last year, it said, this is their, they got to do it this year. This is their time. And that's the Detroit Lions and the Buffalo Bills. Neither one of them did it.
Yeah.
Buffalo, we hate the running back by committee. Buffalo's got wide receiver by committee. They don't really have a wide receiver one. They don't have a standout wide receiver.
Well,
what are they betting on? Gabe Davis now? Or?
No, Davis is gone.
Well, he traded.
He was in Jacksonville last year. They lost Matt Collins, who the Pats signed.
Another nobody. Trust me, from fantasy football, 2 thumbs down on Matt Collins.
And there's another thing that gets me down on the Bills.
That being said, I should warn everybody. Everybody that I hold on to forever and does nothing, the week I let them go and someone picks them up, they become superstars. Jawan Johnson, Ray McLeod, the list goes on.
Jawan Jennings, yeah.
Jawan Jennings is good.
The other thing that scares me about Buffalo is that they still don't got Cook in the building.
Yeah.
And Cook...
So now, I had a
but if Cook played
running back of theirs that I thought would come up, it didn't. It's Ray Davis that's coming up.
But Cook... Last year, if Cook played for any other team last year, he would have led the league in touchdowns.
He was top 5 RB, I think.
I think he was RB7 in Dynasty.
7.
But the thing is that how many touchdowns did Josh Allen take from him rushing?
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But for me, it's...
Most teams put that on the running back, but when you got Josh Allen or
Buffalo,
the tush push in Philly.
Yeah. And Buffalo, as a Pats fan, please don't sign James Cook. I would love to see James Cook. I'd love to see James Cook get the hell out of the AFC East. So please don't sign him. But if you're a Bills fan, what the hell are they doing?
Well, nobody else can sign him.
No.
So he's holding out, much like Le'Veon Bell did years ago. For those of you that don't know, he was a Steeler guy, and they didn't want to pay him. And the Jets finally paid him $16 million over 4 years. But I want you to think of what guys like T. Higgins are making, Jamar Chase are making of that.
Yeah.
When you got a guy who's going to... He's moving the sticks. He's moving the yardsticks.
Oh,
he's giving you first downs. He's getting touchdowns. He's catching balls.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got receivers making 10 times what he's making.
The running backs, this is the problem. As much as I said, wide receivers are easy to find, feels like running backs are a dime a dozen. And this is where I get into it.
Not the best.
The best are not. There's no Derrick. You don't replace Derrick Henry. You don't replace Saquon.
You do realize 3 years ago they just said, Henry, okay, you're 29 years old, you're gone.
Yeah.
You had 1,600 yards, but we don't care.
And McCaffrey in his prime, that wasn't someone that you didn't not pay. And for me...
But they still didn't pay him like they were paying other people.
Oh, McCaffrey got paid, though. When he went to San Fran, he got paid twice, actually. McCaffrey was the first running back in a very long time to get paid. But for me, it's like...
But paid was like $6 million a year the first time, and what, 8 or 9?
I think he hit 14, 15, something like that. But James Cook, to me, is a back that's... I think he's a top 5 back.
Well, I thought he was top 5. You say he was 7.
Even if,
but
I think now going forward, I mean, I don't even think it's a contest. I think pretty much everyone would rather have James Cook than Christian McCaffrey going forward.
Oh, absolutely. And I don't know, has Cook even missed injury time? I don't think he has.
If he has, it's been very minimal. Because I had him in my Dynasty, and I don't remember ever having to sit him on a bench for any extended period of time.
I traded to him in Dynasty, and I got a first-round pick plus for him because he was that valuable.
But for me, it's like, if you're Buffalo, you got the salary cap. Here's the thing that pissed me off about the NFL. You paid Joey Bosa $14 million for a fucking 1 year, and you're going to struggle with paying James Cook? Like, for me, pay James Cook, or as a Pats fan...
You could literally have Cook for 5 years. You could.
Oh, yeah.
Very conceivable.
And I think that if you pay
Cook... If you can lock up a top 7 running back for 5 years... At a young age, at 24, 25
I think
years.
Even if you paid James Cook, even if you paid him 4 years and you paid him, say you paid him $55 million, $15 million a year for him, that's a fucking steal.
Yeah. And only a bit of that's going to be guaranteed. You got to earn, you got to keep playing up there to get the rest, right?
Yeah.
And it is a steal when you look at how many wide receivers are making that kind of money and not doing shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
for what he did.
So I'm going to go with the Pats. I'm assuming you are going to go with...
I don't... Here's my thing. The Pats are going to be at the top of that division again. Vrabel, McDaniels. Then you got Drake May. And they're drafting great young guys. Trevion. Well, so they took Trevion Henderson in the second round. He's out of Ohio State. He got taken right after, the next running back after Quinshon Judkins, who was his teammate. Quinshon Judkins is this and that and everything, but Trevion Henderson is the big playmaker. If there's a 72-yard screen, Henderson got it. If there's a 60-yard run, Henderson got it. He is the big playmaker. And to put him with Ramondre Stevenson, you just, wow, you wowed. And now, you draft Kyle. Okay, so that's fantastic. They draft him 69th overall, early in the third round. Now they've got another receiver. They brought in Diggs. Go through the list of free agents. People want to come and play in New England now.
I think
it's Vrabel. It's McDaniels.
Vrabel's
It's a whole culture there has changed back to a winning culture.
And let me just say this as a Pats fan. I can't fucking stand Gerard Mayo for what he did for losing his first overall pick. But at the same time, he got a raw deal in New England. You groomed him under Bill Belichick. He had no other experience. You got rid of Bill Belichick for whatever you got rid of him for. I get it.
Yeah. You elevated him to king way too early.
But then you gave it to a mini Bill, and you're trying to. The Pats were trying to change the culture. They were trying to go in a different way. For me, Gerard Mayo will be a head coach again in the NFL. But
I don't know if they didn't ruin him. And again, I don't want him as coach. I think he should have been fired. I backed him when he became coach based on his background, but he was never a coordinator. He never called a play in a game.
No, that's what I mean. It's like
he had an offensive coordinator that had only ever called plays in one game because the head coach had COVID, and he lost 35-6 or something. I will
say this, Alex Van Pelt. Shout out Alex Van Pelt. You got fucking a raw deal from New England. I thought he did a great job last year with Drake May.
Never should have went there.
He developed.
You never should have went there,
but he helped develop Drake May. He got rid of a bit of Drake May's happy feet. I would love to see Alex Van Pelt get another offensive coordinator.
That's what he'll have to. He'll have to go back to coordinator or
and Van Pelt. He deserves it.
Quarterback coach even.
Yeah, shout out to Van Pelt because I think you helped bring Drake May along. I think that. You kind of got a raw deal in New England, but...
I think anybody they hired in the coaching staff last year in New England got a raw deal.
Yeah, they definitely...
Including Gerard Mayo. They elevated him way too fast. They should have brought him along. They should have made him a coordinator for a bit. They should have let him have some experience in games, calling plays.
The problem was that he was a D coordinator under Belichick. When Bill Belichick is your head coach, no one else is calling defensive plays. He's the best.
No one's calling offensive plays. No one else is even. He's telling you what color underwear you're wearing to the game, and you're wearing that underwear.
It's just so for me. I think that the Pats have enough this year, and unless they get James Cook into OTAs and then into mandatory mini camp, and
he's getting fined huge as well.
Well, and don't forget when he wants his contract. The team's going to be paying that fine because he's going to be tacking that on every day. That's what always happens, right? Those guys tack it on to, okay, well, I was going to get $50 million. I've been fined $2 million, so I want $52 million now. So,
yeah.
So I'm going to go with the Pats, and you're going to go with the...
The Pats are going to go back on top of that division, and they're going to stay there for a few years. But here's the thing. We talked about Buffalo and Detroit. Last year was their year. This is it for Buffalo. They're getting another shot at it, and I think when you look at when you look at the position that New England's coming from, yes, they're going to be a lot better. But I'm not going to bullshit you. People are going to say, "Oh no, they were 4-13." No, they were 3-14. They did not win that last game.
Yeah.
Buffalo handed it to them.
Yeah. Well, Gerard Mayo.
Yeah, 4th and 23 at your own 12-yard line. We're going to run it up the middle just so we can give you the ball back.
And also, can I just say, fuck you, Gerard Mayo, for that stupid fucking smirk you gave at the end of the game where you're like, yeah, I fucked the pass out of the first pick because he knew he was fired.
I don't know what we would have done.
I'll never forgive him.
I don't know what we would have done with that first pick. I don't know what we would have done with it.
Well, we probably would have traded it because
I think, yeah. Oh, that was a thing. And Buffalo did not want the Pats having that first pick.
No.
Because of the Pats were going to turn that into a lot.
Even
As opposed to having just a fourth. They turned the fourth into nothing. One guy. A good guy that I like, Campbell. But they got a fourth. If they had the first, they would have had like the third, the ninth, a first next year. They were going to get a lot for that pick.
Yeah.
So we're coming from 3-14 in my view. We were minus 127, something like that, and Buffalo was like plus 157. It was like about a 270 point difference. That's huge. We are not going to make up a 270 point difference in 1 year. Unless Buffalo falters badly. And I don't think they're going to falter.
So here's my thing: is
that bad this year. But when they get on top, I'm telling you, I think it's going to be a 2 or 3 year ride, anyways, if not more.
I think that with our D line signed, is it Milton Williams there from Philly? There, we paid him all that money as a D tackle. Gonzalez coming back.
Yeah.
This and that, getting Carlton Davis as a cornerback too. Sorry, I think you see the Pats make that ground up. And I think you see Buffalo. I think last year was consensus, and I was cheering for him, and I was hoping he was going to win a Super Bowl. I think last year was Josh Allen's year. I think that their window's closed for about a year or two until they got to get him a playmaker. Who's he really got on the outside that you can be like, oh yeah, this is a guy that can really help carry us. I just don't think you got anyone. So for me, I'm like I said, I'm going to roll with the Pats.
Well, the actual point difference is 285. From plus 157 for Buffalo to minus 128. 275 points. That's a lot to make up. Now, granted, it doesn't have to make all that up to win that division. But to go from what I still call 3-14, because I don't think they won that fourth game, to a team that's 13-4, will Buffalo be... God, I won't be shocked if Buffalo doesn't win that division this year, but I think I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt that they are the best team. They've built already where the Pats are building. I think the Pats are building a hell of a lot better and a hell of a lot faster than Buffalo is. And as much of a Pats fan as I am, I think they're second this year. I don't think the Jets or the Dolphins are there. I think they're second. And if I could look 2 years into the future, I think that's when the Pats take over that division. But for this year, there's the two teams I got to respect is Detroit and Buffalo. Yeah. And give them their final. So I'm going to go with Buffalo.
All right, guys, we have come to the end of the podcast. I just want to give a quick shout out to Pats fans. There's going to be a few of us from Canada coming down for the Tom Brady statue reveal on August 8th against Washington. So we are
preseason game.
The preseason game, yeah. So we're gonna be there. So if any of you are gonna be there, give me a DM, and we're gonna try to get a bunch of us together. So we are going to jump into the list. So today's list is gonna be the top 10 quarterbacks of all time. So I'm gonna let my dad start it off, and we're gonna run down the top 10 quarterbacks for you of all time.
All right, we're going to step back a little bit in time because we're doing the top 10 of all time. And we're going to go with Dan Marino. And for anyone that had the great privilege of watching Dan Marino, you can watch tapes and that, and you can see how great he was. But as always, live football was amazing. And Dan Marino put on some just amazing shows. Monday night football games against the Jets of 55-54 and games like that. He was the best in the NFL in his time.
He really revolutionized passing in the NFL. I feel like he was the first guy that really took passing to kind of the next level that these young guys now kind of do.
Yeah, it was a running game. But football was a running game for, it goes in cycles.
Yeah.
And today's game, I think that, with the champions, it's much more balanced. But yeah, Marino just and of course he played for the Miami Dolphins, and of course you had John Shula coaching, so you have quite. I mean, you got the winningest coach. Actually, Shula's still the winningest coach football, and he did that in like 14 and 16 game seasons.
Yeah. All right. So Dan Marino's number 10. We're gonna go to number 9, and we got Aaron Rodgers. Now Rodgers is a 4-time NFL MVP and then the 1-time Super Bowl champ. That's why he's a little down on the list. He's one of the best passers of the football that I've ever seen. Super talented. I don't know what ever happened in Green Bay. Green Bay could just never really get over that hump. I mean, I know kind of now you look at Aaron Rodgers, but you go watch Aaron Rodgers in his prime, and he was fun to watch. Really good pass for the ball. So we got him coming in at number 9.
And of all the quarterbacks ever in the NFL, he had the best Hail Marys.
Yeah.
That fucker would Hail Mary win pretty much 75% of the time he threw that ball.
Yeah.
He threw Hail Mary wins. At number 8, Steve Young. Steve Young he came in, he took over for Joe Montana in San Fran, and he led them to the promised land as well. And he just did some things like no one else. He was a bit taller. He was just so statuesque. Great teams, great coaching, and great receivers. But sometimes you got to ask yourself, is it the receivers or is it the quarterbacks that do that?
Yeah.
He put 3 Super Bowls up. Yeah, he came onto a good team, but he still put.
Yeah, I think he only got 1 as the starter though. Didn't he? Did he actually win all 3?
He has 3 Super Bowls.
Or was it Montana had the 2 and then Stevie only had the 1 as a starter, I think. But he had the 2 NFL MVPs as well too.
As well, yeah.
And I believe I think it was actually Jerry Rice that was his the Super Bowl MVP for his Super Bowl. So, but yeah, either way, Steve Young.
Yes, yeah.
So we got coming in at number 7, we got Johnny Unitas. Now a little bit before most of our times there, but he was a 3-time NFL MVP and he was a 1-time NFL champion. So this was obviously pre-Super Bowl era for his win. But he really he set the standard for new QBs, and I think he would be a little bit higher if he had won those championships when it was, the AFC and the NFC. And it was the Super Bowl, not back then. But yeah, so we got Johnny Unitas coming in at number 7.
Number 6. I fucking hate him. And I told you I hate him because I'm fucking jealous of him. He's amazing. He's awesome to watch. He'd be better to watch if you were a fan, because when you hate a guy this good, he just keeps pissing you off more and more. You got him by the ankle and you didn't bring him down. You had him here and he completes a touchdown pass usually. And it's Patrick Mahomes. Lots of respect for the guy. He's fantastic. But I still hate him because I hated Joe Montana. I hated all dynasties. One thing I can tell you as a Pats fan, I understand why people hate the Pats.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're just that fucking good.
Yeah.
And I love it, and I love rubbing it in your face because I hate all the other ones that are in dynasties that are that good. But he is so you probably still got to say he's the best quarterback in the league. You can say that Lamar does this and maybe the new guys like Bo Nix do this and that. But Mahomes wins.
Yeah.
He wins and he wins and he wins.
Yeah,
he gets you to the Super Bowl and he wins you in the Super Bowl. Yeah, he's lost a few, but he's also won them. You just can't count him out.
He's 3-2.
He's 3-2.
Same as Brady was.
3-2.
Right? So
you can't count him out ever. He is definitely the best in the league right now.
All right, coming in at number 5, we got Troy Aikman. Now he was a 3-time Super Bowl champion. He had a great playoff record, 11-5. He was a 1-time Super Bowl MVP. I know my old man sitting beside me was not a Troy Aikman fan because he hated the Dallas Cowboys.
I hated the Cowboys.
But
I hated the Cowboys.
But as a quarterback, Aikman was.
Well, Aikman did a few things. He was probably the first guy to take and renegotiate his contract to bring in a player to help him win the Super Bowl. That player was Deion Sanders. Jerry Jones came down the field and he says, we got a chance. And Deion was the only guy in NFL football that had 2 nicknames. He was Prime Time and he was Neon Deion. Yeah. He had his 2 nicknames. And Aikman just told Jones, go do whatever it takes. He didn't sit there and go do whatever it takes. Didn't talk to his agent.
Yeah.
They came back down. Aikman says, yeah, I'll do it. And if you see the list, and Mahomes has done it too. He got that super massive, ridiculous contract.
Oh, yeah.
But when they wanted to win the Super Bowl, he renegotiated.
Yeah, they reworked their deals.
Brady's done it, never being the top paid guy.
Yeah.
These guys that do that win, and Aikman did that.
Yeah.
And Aikman, I'll tell you, he is probably too the original guy in the NFL, not that got a concussion, but that people realized, holy fuck, he got more than just his bell rung.
Yeah.
When he's at the side, he's on the sidelines talking to his coach and thinking he's at the mall shopping. His coach was smart enough not to put him back in the game, and they didn't even know what concussions were.
Yeah, back then. Yeah.
Well, number 4, Peyton Manning. Another one I hated. I hate a lot of really, really good players. Keep in mind, Manning comes, him and his brother both, they might as well be racehorses because they're bred from the stock.
Yeah.
No, their father, I think Archie was, a 2-time Heisman Trophy winner.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, and he was just raised. He was the perfect specimen for being a quarterback. He had a lot more natural advantage than his brother because he was bigger, taller, stronger. But obviously he was the number 1 overall pick. He proved he was worth it. There was the whole Manning Brady thing for quite a while.
Yeah, those were great rivalries.
Great rivalries. And keep in mind, Peyton Manning is one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. But when you're a Patriots fan and he's your rival, you hate him. You have to. You want him to get killed. But he doesn't. He's too smart. He's too good. He is that good. Look at Denver. They just couldn't get back to the promised land. They just need that one more thing. They need that one more thing. They went and got Peyton Manning. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah. And then shout out to Peyton Manning, too. If you guys have a chance, watch the Tom Brady retirement in Foxborough. And they bring Peyton out as a special guest. And Peyton talks about him and Brady's rivalry and kind of how they became friends and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool to see. But as a Patriots household, we always hated seeing either the Colts or the Broncos on our schedule, just because of
Manning.
Just because of Peyton, right? So, all right, coming in at number 3, we got Terry Bradshaw. I know some people are not going to like this because they say, oh, he had the steel curtain and he had this, he had that. Guy's a 4-time Super Bowl champ, 2-time Super Bowl MVP. I got nothing else to say. I don't want to hear it. When you win 4 Super Bowls and you're a quarterback, what else can you say? And you get 2 MVPs in that time.
This was back in my day. And being in Canada where we lived, we didn't get cable TV. We had literally had the 12-channel dial, and there's really only 9 channels on the dial that came in. So we only got to see NFL playoff games. We didn't have a Pittsburgh channel or anything like that. And so when you're young and you get to see Bradshaw on that, this is probably the only dynasty that I actually liked. I love the Steelers. I love Mean Joe Green. He was actually my favorite guy of the Steelers. But I just loved them all. Lynn Swann was a classy guy. Bradshaw, one Super Bowl he won, I think he had 120 passing yards. But back in those days, they called their own plays. The quarterback, there was no microphones, and I know you young guys are looking at me going, what do you mean you called your own plays? But yeah, they go into the huddle, they're lining up like this. Let's try doing that. Let's try doing this. And he did. He got, in 5 years, 4 Super Bowls, which was, just phenomenal. And in those days, man, let me tell you, that guy got hit.
Oh, yeah.
He got hit, and he got hit hard. A lot. And pull off, the only, people say, well, it's true that there wasn't free agency in those days. So if you were smart enough to draft a Lynn Swann, who, by the way, came from a no-name school too, like Jerry Rice pretty much, if you were smart enough to draft them, but back then those players didn't want to leave the team either.
Yeah.
There wasn't as much money on the table as there is today.
No.
But they played for this. They played for the crest on their shirt.
Patch,
They were Steelers, and they were Steelers forever.
Yep.
And I remember as a kid that put a real impression on my head about pride and playing for other things than just the money. Whereas now,
it's the money.
everybody wants to get paid, and rightfully so, because the owners are making so much fucking money out of this.
Oh yeah,
They should. But yeah, Bradshaw was something else. He was really probably the best quarterback in the NFL until the Mannings and Aikmans and Bradys came along.
Yeah.
Number 2, and I fucking hated him. Joe Montana. For some reason, I just hated him. I actually saw him on a TV show when he was in his prime. And it was a little game show that your parents would watch, like The Price is Right, that lame. And it was called Tattletales. And they asked a question. Have you learned more from your wins or from your losses, your victories or your defeats? And there was no other sports people on it. It was like movie stars and TV stars and that were on it. Everybody said they learned more from their losses and defeats. Except that arrogant piece of shit, Joe Montana. I've learned more from my victories.
Well, when you're a 4-time Super Bowl champ and a 3-time Super Bowl
I know, you learn how to win. But I don't.
Win, right?
They're just... So he came after Terry Bradshaw. But this is what I mean, that when I think back to what Bradshaw and all of those Pittsburgh Steelers did, and how they played for the crest, and how they played so hard. And, there's a great Coca-Cola commercial from back then where Mean Joe Green sees a kid in the runway out, and it's only him and the kid. And he turns, and he gives the kid his Coke. Joe Montana would have stole the Coke out of that kid's hands and drank it. In my head, right? So, but he led San Francisco to be the greatest franchise of their time. And so you got to give him the respect. You got to put him on the list.
So we'll say they were the greatest franchise until quarterback number 1. I'm sure you guys all know Tom Brady, 7-time Super Bowl champ, 5-time Super Bowl MVP. He had the longevity. He had the rings, the comebacks, the everything. Yeah. He had the comebacks in the playoffs against Peyton. He had the comebacks against the Falcons in the Super Bowl. And I mean, I don't even think it's close anymore. I know my dad said earlier he thinks that Mahomes might be the one guy that can catch Brady. I don't think anyone catches Brady. I think what he did, the longevity that he had, the guy's got 3 Hall of Fame careers. When you break down his career, the guy's got 3 Hall of Fame careers. I mean, and then switching teams to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and going and winning a Super Bowl with them. For me, I think for everyone, anyone that watches football, it was Tommy. And I grew up as a Pats fan, and I grew up as a Buffalo Sabres fan for hockey. And for those of you that don't know, the Sabres suck shit. They are fucking terrible. And getting to watch
year after year after year after year.
And getting to watch Tom, you look back now and you realize you were so spoiled. And I can tell KC fans, enjoy it while it lasts, because it'll come to an end. And you think that we'll just pick up where we left off. That don't work like that. So for me, Tom, I think for everyone, it's Tom. The memories and shit that he brought our family and stuff like that with what we
for
got
so
to
many
see.
years too.
Yeah, we got to.
How many years was it between the first and last? 17, 18, 19 years, something?
Yeah, something like that. So getting to watch those and stuff like that, and I watched him from. He got drafted in 2000. I was 10 years old, and I got to watch him win Super Bowls up until I was 31, because he won his last one. He won in 2020. So I was 30 years old. So I got 20 years of getting to see that, and
20 best years of your life.
Yeah, and you don't get to relive that probably.
It was a great run. It was a phenomenal run. Yeah. And Tom Brady, 199th overall draft pick, worst combine ever. He's the whole thing, but he won that with 3 different teams.
Yeah.
Because his first 3 and his second 3, there's only one player in there who played on any of the games of the first 3 and the second 3, and that was Vince Wilfork. And he only played in one.
Yeah.
He only played in one carryover game.
Yeah.
So really, Tom, there's 2 completely different teams between the first 3 and the second 3.
Yeah.
And then he went to Tampa Bay. And I remember driving to work in the 5:30 in the morning, and I listened to my favorite radio DJs who know their music and love it, but they don't know shit about sports. And they're fucking laughing at Brady because he lost. And Cam Newton won for the Patriots. And they're in there going, doesn't he get it? It's the system, stupid. It's the system. And they kept going on. Well, I didn't do it, but I wanted to call them in and go, you know what, guys? How about we have this conversation at the end of the year? And I really wish I would have done it now, because at the end of the year, guess what? Tom won the Super Bowl.
Tom won it. And let's just say this. For all the Tom Brady haters out there, let's just name 2 of them. Rob Parker, Brady got the last laugh. And Max Kellerman. The cliff never came. Both of you are hopefully on a beach somewhere because Rob Parker, your analysis of Tom Brady, what a fucking clown show. Tom stayed in there and he held his own right until the very end. And he probably still could have kept playing. And he he would have been a top 5 quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, still, absolutely, he would have been. On that, especially if he stayed on Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
Or went to one of the other teams.
Yeah.
But Max Kellerman, he was smart. He made a 20-year career out of saying the cliff is coming. The cliff is coming. And everybody wanted to watch Max because, as you know...
Rob Parker did it, too. I think he was on Fox Sports. Rob Parker was the guy... Tom Brady, he called him the luckiest of all time. Yeah, well, let me tell you something, Rob Parker. Where are you now? And where's Tommy Boy? That's all I got to say.
But as you heard me talk about how I hated Montana and how I hated Peyton Manning and how I know how many people hate Tom Brady. There's no one that likes him. You love him or you hate him.
Oh, yeah.
Because that's the way it is, right?
Yeah.
And the haters, Kellerman made a career out of hating Tom Brady. And all those people are tuning in because they want to hear that. They want to believe that.
I will say at least Kellerman had a basis was he was going off quarterback age. Rob Parker was just a cunt about it. He was just a cunt about it. Rob Parker was the fucking biggest joke in sports talk for the shit he used to say about Brady. And like I said, at the end of the day, Brady got his 7 championships, and he got to ride off into the sunset, and he was a 5-time Super Bowl MVP. All right, guys, that is going to wrap it up today for the Top 10 podcast. Go ahead, give us a like and follow on YouTube, and we will see you guys later in the week when we drop our next one. Have a good one, guys.